I'm Jacob Pushel with AGM Energy Services. This is the Niagara system that communicates to the HVAC controls. So right now, we're on the RTU composite screen that shows you the current operational status of all the units in the building. From this screen, you can get to any of the RTUs or the AC units for the server areas.
And an RTU is what?
It's a rooftop unit. So those are what provide conditioned air to all your classrooms to make sure that they're getting an appropriate amount of fresh air from outside at a good temperature. And then the classrooms have their own systems in them to reheat the air if they need to warm the room up, or if they need to cool the room down, they just take whatever comes from the rooftop unit. So on this screen, when you're here, you can click on any of the boxes to go to the specific rooftop. If you click on here where it says occupied, that should open up the schedule if the link is working. Yeah, so that'll take you to the weekly schedule view. So this tab, that shows you what the current schedule for that specific unit is. Right now it's just 24/7 occupied. So if you want to change that.
If I lower this down and I raise this up, or I could do it here too. I can start the event.
You can drag.
Start the event at 5 a.m.
Yep.
and end it at 6 o'clock p.m. occupied.
Yep.
So that sets Sunday at occupied. Then if I click on this, will it go with a double click?
So you can drag it around, or down in the bottom you have the start finish times as well.
Okay, so we'll do this one at 5, and we'll do this one at 6 also, and we'll change it to PM.
Yep. And then you should be able to, if Monday through Friday is all the same schedule, if you right click inside the green on Monday, well, inside the green on Monday.
Inside the green on Monday,
Yeah.
okay.
Then you can hit apply Monday through Friday.
Apply Monday through Friday, okay, good to know.
Yep. And then
Saturday and Sunday you have to do it manually.
Yeah, you can right click and there's a copy day option. So you could copy, whatever other day you have and then put it onto Saturday.
You have to right click that, copy date?
Yeah, you'd want to copy one of the other days. So if you do copy day, and then you can right click there and apply day.
Okay, I get it.
Or there should be a paste day. Hit the paste day is the second option.
I had to get a new mouse or something, this one has to screw up.
Yeah, so then now this unit would run from 5 to 6, Sunday through Saturday. That's how that specific unit is configured.
Okay, now tell me, while I'm on this unit, because all the units are the same. All the rooftops are the same. If I have a special event on Sunday.
Yep.
Special event?
Yep, go to the special events tab.
Okay.
And then over there on the left, right below the calendars, there's a plus button inside a circle.
Yes.
Yep, so you'll hit there, and then here you can
I'll put the event
name the event.
at, I'll just put party.
And then
type of day.
yep, so that gives you a bunch of different options you can use to configure the special event. You can configure events on specific dates. You can select a date range, so like when you're unoccupied for Christmas break or Easter break or spring break, you can configure that so that your unit is occupied during that time frame. Select it as date, so hit select date out of the list.
Okay.
Yep, so if you know this Sunday you have a party, you would just select the...
Any weekday?
Well, if you just select the actual date for what Sunday is.
Okay, Sunday we're going to say is the 21st.
Yep, and then since there's only one March 21st in 2021, that's all you have to do.
Okay.
So you hit OK. Now you want to click on the event that you popped up in there. So you want to select it. Okay, it might be selected. Then over in the right, that's where you schedule what the event is.
Okay, so then I schedule it here by, because that's the date.
Yep.
I'm going down here and I want to click on, the party's going to start at 2, so we want the heat on at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, will it let you drag anything inside that little block there? That's all. Okay, there we go.
So I want to start it at,
Yeah, now that you have that in there, you'll be able to use the start and finish times.
so I could use this.
Yeah, you can do it that way, where now you can use the ones that are down there below as well.
I cancel this.
Yep.
I should
Okay,
be able
so,
to use
well, you
this.
gotta drag, you have to start an event up there, so just drag.
Start at the top.
All at the top.
Yeah, so you
Well, there's
gotta,
nothing, it's not letting me
yeah,
use it.
select, you have to have the event selected.
Okay, select the event.
Yep, now if you click there, now you see, since you have that selected, you
Oh,
can
okay,
use the
because,
start.
okay, I see, now I can do it here.
Yep,
It's lit up. If it's
Yep.
grayed out, something is wrong.
yeah, you have to have
Party will
that,
start at 1 o'clock
Yep.
PM and at 5 o'clock PM. So the party starts at 2, the heat's on at 1, warming it up, and it'll shut off at 5.
yep,
And that's the special event.
yep, yeah, and if that's inside your regular schedule, like if you're gonna leave Saturday and Sunday from 5 to 6, then you wouldn't have to worry about the special event, it'll already be running.
Right.
But if you were to unoccupy completely over the weekend, that's when you'd want to come in and add this special event in there, to where it will kick on, even though its regular schedule's unoccupied, the special event would make it then turn on.
Well, I would think for us, the only special events would be if we had something in the cafeteria for a rental of some kind, or a Sunday event,
Okay.
then we could put in a special event for that time, or rather than mess up the whole schedule.
Yeah, that's the intent of the special events, is so you set your base schedule, and then anytime there's something before or after that base schedule, then you come in and put your special event in there.
Let's say we have a concert in cafeteria, whatever, and it's the same day as we're open. Let's say, it starts at 7.
Okay?
So we'd have to change just that one day.
Yeah, you could go to the schedule for the unit that serves the cafeteria and put a special event on there and only turn that area on.
Now, what unit does that controls?
Well, this is rooftop unit 1 or 2, I just clicked on this.
So what area does that control?
So before you go out, if you hit up in the right-hand corner, there's the little floppy disk icon, the one right to the
This
left of
one?
that. Nope,
This
yep. Yep, so that saves what you just did to the schedule.
Okay,
And then you should now be able to just hit the back button in the browser. Yeah, so RTU2 serves the first floor area 2 classrooms. And we have that labeled for each of the RTUs, what area of the building it serves. We could also too, if it would help, we can make that say, instead of just first floor area 1, area 2, area 3, we can put also on that page what rooftop is serving that area.
okay.
Then you know if you have, if one part of your building is all cold, you can say, hey, rooftop 1 is my problem, I'm gonna go look at just its area. And there is a couple spots where it's not a perfect cutoff in the area, so there's a couple spots where they mix a little bit, but mostly the area is just by the one rooftop. Yeah, so for all of the rooftop units, if you want to click on one so we can go to the...
Well, which one had the high, this one had the discharge alarm, so which one was this one?
That's RTU number 7 for the middle school gym. Yep.
Okay, so I want to click on middle school gym or RTU 7?
Either one of those spots. Just don't click the occupy. Yeah, so on the rooftop units, out of those we have a fault code, a warning code, and a problem code. And we've set up an email alert to go out when any of those three things has an alarm. So from what I've seen with these units, anytime there's any kind of code, a fault, a warning, or a problem, they shut down and they don't run until you reset the alarm. So when you get these, you would want to log in, come in here, you can see what the alarm was, in the email and then on the screen. And then you can hit the clear alarms button that's on the graphic here, right below where all the alarms are at. And I'm gonna make a change to how that button works on the back end side so that it doesn't do what it did during the first training session. You can click that button and it'll reset all the alarms, and then the unit will try and fire back up. And if it fires back up, then you're good. If it trips an alarm, then you know, hey, somebody needs to go mechanically look at this unit and make sure it's working the right way.
Okay, but with this one right now, why is the exhaust fan not working? It's supplying air, but should not the exhaust fan be pushing the air out? Or is it just, that's only for heating or for the cooling part?
Yeah, so this is for the gym. So right now, it controls that exhaust fan based on the building pressure in the room. So if you look under the status section there, right now the building pressure is 0.01 inches of water up there on the upper left. Yep, so that's the actual pressure reading right now is 0.01.
Okay.
And if you look, the first line under set points is your building pressure set point. So you want to have 0.02 inches of pressure in the room. So that's why your exhaust fan isn't running. It's
So
trying to
if
make
the
that
gym was
more positive.
occupied, the pressure in the room would go up and the exhaust fan would kick on.
It doesn't necessarily have to do a lot with if people are in the room or not. But that exhaust fan, if you need to make it more positive in there to get to the 0.02, it's not going to run the exhaust. If you need to bring the pressure down and make it more negative, then the exhaust fan will run. If there's other problems, so if it's 30 degrees outside and your heating coil isn't working, or your outside air damper's 100% open for some reason, then you can get that alarm.
So if the pump that controls this heating coil or the solenoid or whatever shuts off, and there's no water going into the heating coil,
Yep.
it'll shut this unit down.
Yeah, so if your heating valve and your dampers
If
are,
it's below 40 degrees.
yeah, if it gets below that 40 degrees, it'll turn off. And what usually that means, you have an issue either with your dampers aren't actually stroking how they're supposed to stroke, or your heating coil is having a problem where you either don't have hot water, which would then be affecting the whole building, or it might be the hot water valve, the actuator on that valve just isn't opening or closing like it's supposed to.
And then this thing is blinking just because there's no alarm, so there's really no alarm to clear, or is this alarm still
Yeah,
active?
so if they're still active, those will be red, and they'll blink at you, and it'll actually say what the alarm is. So if this was still an alarm, it would say low discharge air temperature there. The reason it keeps blinking is sometimes there are alarms that will automatically reset themselves without any intervention in the system. So that's blinking to tell you, hey, I was in alarm. I'm not in alarm anymore. So you have to go and acknowledge the alarm to make it stop blinking.
So I can hit the clear alarms?
No, so you'd have to hit the alarms button up there, the red one up there.
I was gonna
Right.
get to that next, because why does this thing beep at you when you're on the screen?
Yeah, anytime there's an alarm active, it makes that sound. Yeah, so you can see, if you see the RTU7 fault message there.
Which one are you looking at? This one right here.
Yeah, so if you check that box to select that alarm and then hit acknowledge down there at the bottom. Now if you go back to that RTU graphic, so you should be able to just use the back button up there in the browser. That is not going to blink anymore.
I see.
And if you don't want those to blink at you, we can change that so they don't blink, so they just turn red. Okay, because if if you don't have the ability to get onto the district network from home, then you'd have to physically come in to reset any alarms.
Oh, but just the actual district network? I mean, the
You
internet?
can't just log on to the internet to, like you're gonna check your email.
Right, right,
see
right,
what's
right.
happening. You
Right.
can't do that. You have to be on a secured VPN network.
So Dan is the only one that has that access? Or do you have
Well, I have a VPN for the Siemens system.
Siemens system?
I imagine that I could get into this system.
If that gets you onto the district network, you should be able to get to this using that same IP
I'll have
address.
to try that. So how do I, okay, now it's still clicked, so if I acknowledge that, it'll still,
Yeah, so it's gonna stay there because it's still in alarm right now.
so how do we,
So if you go, if you go to
How do I acknowledge
RTU4, so it's already been acknowledged, that's why the little bell on the left is grayed out.
well, it says one acknowledged, okay, you're right.
Yeah, but you see how the source state says off normal?
Yes,
That means it's still in alarm.
okay.
So it's gonna stay in there until that
it's
alarm goes away, until that goes back to normal. Which
So-
if the filter's good, if you guys went up and looked and it's good, that may be something you can reset with that button on the graphic. So if you go back to where we can
Okay,
get
so
the.
when we go back, we'll go back to RTU4,
Yep.
and we'll see if we can't reset that.
Yep,
Okay, and then when I go on this thing and I get an alarm and it's beeping, it was driving me crazy. How do I stop this beeping? I click
if you
the
hit,
X
yeah,
and
you
then
can,
get the silence.
yeah, that should make it, stop beeping.
So we can get out of alarms. Now we're gonna go back to, we're gonna hit the back button, we're gonna go to rooftop unit 4.
Yeah, and can you hit that little circle there that has.
This one?
Yeah, if you hit that,
The nav tree.
and if you double click on home,
Oh,
whoops,
okay.
yeah, hold on, hit the button next to config, the
This
little
one?
triangle. No, hit the triangle,
Okay.
yeah, double click on home. And then, yeah, because sometimes the back buttons do weird things, even though they're supposed to just work fine. So now if you go to RTU,
So what your suggestion is keep this screen open all the time?
yeah, then you're always gonna have access to that home button.
But then I'm blocked half of it, so I could connect.
Yeah, if you hit there again, yep, it'll close that, and it'll have to resize, figure out the scale.
I tried to make this thing bigger, but it wasn't working either.
Yeah, so then if you click on RTU4,
Okay. That's administration site.
yep. And that is, okay, so that's not one we can clear through the system. So that unit still thinks that the filter is dirty.
So then, when you have this, what is the answer? To physically go up to the unit, shut it down, look at the filter?
Yeah, because I believe that, I don't think that's a runtime. I believe it's actually looking at, the pressure across the filter to know if it's dirty or not.
So if I take the filter out and I hold it up to the light, like they told us when we were on the roof, and it's clean, and I put it back in, then come down here and then I'd have to revert to the other training for rooftops to hit the
Yeah.
reset button somewhere.
Yeah, and you can try. I mean, if you hit the clear alarms button, hope the pop-up pops up like it's supposed to. I know it didn't want to do it when I was here before.
Nothing popped
Yeah,
up.
try right-clicking on there and then do override.
Emergency
No, just regular override.
override.
Yep. And then in the drop down where it says override value, click the arrow and then select clear all alarms. And then change, you see where it says permanent directly above there?
It says override duration or permanent
Yep,
rate.
yeah, so right there, yep, change that, hit the drop down and just do it for like 1 minute. And then if you hit OK, so now that's overridden to reset. I know there's not any alarms that are there.
So now it lit up in red, so I could clear alarm.
Yep, and I'm gonna change that so you don't have to do the drop down. I'm gonna set it up to where it will just automatically hit that reset all button.
Okay.
so that we don't have to worry about the drop down action.
So when I clear it, you're gonna fix that, so we don't have to go through what we just.
Yeah, you're just gonna have to click it and it'll turn red. That'll harm, when you hit that reset button, it changes, it takes the value, but then it's just a really quick switch between the reset and then it goes back to not reset.
Right.
So it doesn't have to stay maintained for a super long amount of time. So that's saying that rooftop still thinks that the filter is dirty. Whether it's actually cleaner or not, the rooftop thinks it's dirty.
Okay. Now I see the heating coil, the cooling coil is open to 25%.
Yep.
So this thing is pumping cooling in there, but we still got the boilers running because it's 53 degrees outside.
Yep.
So I mean, that's okay, the heating coil here is at 0. So that means to me that the valve for the heat is closed.
Correct.
Even though the boilers are running, this unit right here is saying, what is this, rooftop 4, this is for the administration offices. So it's too hot in there, kill the heating, but open up the cooling
Yep. Yeah, it's in cooling mode right now.
at 25%.
Then it just wouldn't see
Yeah, and then see it just modulated back down. So what it's trying to do, it's trying to just use your outside air, because
Yes.
you're 100% open right now. If you look, when the other side of the coil, your supply air temperature, or on the other side of the wheel, excuse me, your supply air coming out of the wheel is still 62.6 degrees,
Right.
which is above your 60-degree supply air setting. So that's why it's bringing on the cooling, because when it's going through that, it actually...
Because
yeah.
the wheel is recovering hot air from the,
Well, the wheel is disabled right now. It's not running.
right,
And I haven't physically seen these units, but usually there's a set of bypass dampers, so when you're not running the wheel, you can just go around it. So that may be the bypass around the wheel may not be open like it should be when the wheel's not running, which is then causing that 62.7 degree temperature there. So that's why the cooling was trying to ramp up.
But actually, it's running cooler right now, it's kind of running air conditioning basically.
but the outside air is 100% dampers open.
Yep.
Right, so you get more.
It's coming in, it's probably going around the wheel
It
because,
should be going around the wheel.
Okay.
I would say based on that temperature, it's not going around the wheel.
it's just coming through.
It's just going
And
through
this
the
wheel
wheel.
is just picking up whatever heat.
Yeah, it's not spinning, but that can still cause it to pick up a little bit of heat.
Okay,
And then that's making you be above the 60-degree set point.
right, that's why after the wheel it's 62.7.
Yep.
So let's say it goes to 80 degrees outside, that wheel starts spinning, correct? That wheel should be spinning.
I don't think the wheel is.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the...
I think the wheel only spins when it gets colder outside.
Well, it's overheat.
Because it's recovering.
Yeah,
the heat.
usually it's for heat recovery.
Okay,
Yeah.
It's recovering the heat that's coming up.
Okay.
Okay.
So we can only access this through this computer because it's already set.
No, you can use it. You can do this through any computer. Any computer that's on
In your
the
office,
network.
if you go to your computer and type in the code, the AP address or IP with
Yeah,
IP
IP.
address, you will come up with this same screen.
Okay.
You and me are the only ones that have access to this screen, according to what Jacob set up from Renee's instructions.
Yep.
And if you are linked in, I could go to the elementary school and I could log into the computer over there and I would have this same screen over there because it's all linked together. If I go to your office and log in under my name, I will have this screen, or any computer that's on any place in this facility.
Yeah, so right now we're using my company email to send the alerts. We would like to transition that over to like an actual Richmond Heights email. And we had talked to
Troy Howard?
yeah, she came in at the end of the last training session, and to try and get us, to find out what we needed to do that. I haven't received anything like that where we can switch it over, but I can send whoever needs it. I can send an email with we need this to switch over.
Why don't you send that to me?
Okay.
And how it learns Joey and figure out.
Okay, so the emails won't come from your company anymore, they will come from the system directly to
Yeah, they're
Richmond
still,
board website.
yeah, it's still coming direct, it's still coming out of the system.
But-
It's just, if I got fired from AGM for whatever reason, and my email address went away, then that would stop working.
Right, so you just want everything to come, just like the Siemens system comes
Yep.
directly to our email,
Yep,
not to any Siemens system.
yeah,
is
so in the, yeah, so you'd still have, Richmond Heights upper school HVAC alarm, you'd
Right.
still have that, but then this, instead of saying my email address, would say HVAC alarms at Richmond Heights
Right.
Schools,
Okay.
.org or whatever. And one thing we have in that can potentially kind of stagger the starts, and we have it in this system as well, is there's an optimized start and stop logic block that we can put in here. And what it does, you feed the schedule in, and then you feed in the outside air, and then we use the average room temperature for area units, or just the room temperature for single zone units. And it looks at all that information, the scheduled start time, outside air, average room temperature, and it looks at a comfort deadband, which I think is like 69 to 75. And it does calculations every day when it starts up to say, hey, I need to start 2 hours early, or I need to start 20 minutes early to get up to temperature before people are actually going to be in the building. So that kind of can end up staggering
Well,
them.
that's another program you'd have to install on there?
No, that's already in there.
It's already in there?
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know what these guys want to do, and I gotta talk to them about it.
Okay.
How do they want the schedule to be? My idea was to start it an hour before school starts.
Okay.
And end it at 6 o'clock every day except for the board office and special events when they have board
Yep.
meetings. Because that unit where the board office is a different unit.
Okay.
So that unit on board days would be set at like 9 o'clock.
Okay.
So, and that would be the special, that's why I wanted to do the special events. how to
Okay,
do a
yep.
special event.
Yeah, and if you want to do a staggered start, you can just do that right through the
I can do
schedule.
right from the schedule,
Yep.
instead of starting, like I did the one, I started it at whenever, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, you can start the next one to start a little earlier.
5:15, 5:40,
Yep.
with 5-minute difference intervals.
Yeah, if that's something you want to do.
And I don't know about the draw from does it cost more money when you bang everything out at one time? Or is it better to start it with the electrical bill? Because I don't see the electrical bills either, so if I started them 5 minutes earlier,
Yeah, I know in some cases, in an electric company, I know a lot of the time it's a concern at like fast food restaurants.
Yeah.
You don't want to turn all your equipment on at the same time, because the power company will see, hey, you got massive demand all at the same time, and they'll charge you more for that. Yeah, so the rooftops, they're packaged rooftop units, so the manufacturer really cuts down what you can actually do
correct.
on those units.
Is there any changes on these things that I can make on here? Or
Yeah,
am
so-
I just looking at the graphic to tell me what's the problem?
Yeah, so from this screen, this is mainly just, giving you critical information, a snapshot of what it's doing. So you have the room temperature, the set point, what the airflow is doing. We have this set up so that, green means you're at or above your flow set point. If it's red, you're, below your flow set point. The room color, blue means you're cold, white, gray means you're okay, red means you're hot. So you can't directly from this screen, you can't change anything.
Right, it's
But
just something to look at.
yeah, but if you go into one of the individual VAV graphics, you can click on any of the boxes on the page.
I'm gonna do that in 1 second.
Yep.
So, what I'm seeing here is that these rooms probably have their thermostat set at 70 degrees or 71.
Yeah, so
But
right
this one down
below.
here might be at 70 degrees because it's just 1 degree or 1 point and 1 degree lower.
Yes, if you're looking at it, the second label there that says SP,
Yes.
that's your current effective set point for the room. So that's gonna change based on whether it's a heating mode or cooling mode.
Okay, the SP is,
That's your current effective set point.
That's the highest.
controlling it. Well, that'll be when it's in heating mode. That's gonna show you what the heating set point currently is. when it's in cooling mode, it's gonna show you what the cooling set point is. So they have that box turned up. Yeah, so if you click into the, that specific box.
Okay, where do I click? Right
Yep,
there?
yeah, you should be able to click anywhere on those.
I try to watch where the little finger goes.
Yeah, so you can see this one, that is just the space temperature set point, okay.
So this is supplying 101 degree air,
Yep, so your,
100% heating.
so your active space temperature set point right now is 75, which gives you 76 cooling, 74 heating. So it's trying to get up to 75 degrees or higher. And right,
Where are these set? This isn't the set point on the thermostat.
no, so the active space set point, that's what's being set either by the thermostat or you can write that over the network. So that's what they probably have locked down to only be able to move between the 70, 75 or whatever it may be. And as you adjust that set point, the active cooling and heating set points will move with it.
Okay, but this is something that's written into the system, not something I can play with.
So you'd be able to change the room set point down there in the bottom where it says network set point.
Network set point.
Yeah, so if you were to right click on the 75 degrees there, you'd be able to override that set point to be something else.
And this is the thermostat, or,
This would be taking precedence over the thermostat setting if you write it over the network.
okay, so right now it's 70 degrees, 75 degrees. So if I right click this,
Yep,
and I
do override.
So I could do for 1 minute, like you said,
Yep,
and I override the value, and I could click it down to 72,
yep,
72.0, and set for 1 minute. So when I click this, because it's hot, it should kill the heating.
yeah, it'll drop. Well, actually, since it's only 69 in the room, it might still stay
Okay.
in heating mode. And it may take a little for that to fully, go over the network and actually react.
And the purple means that it's a temporary.
That was overridden. Yep, so you see it's already starting to close the hot water valve now.
Yes, yes, yeah.
And then you see your active heating and cooling set points change now to reflect 71 and 73. Last in, last out. So we did that to 72 now. Until someone goes and messes with that thermostat again, it's gonna stay at 72.
Even,
So we'll get no colder than 72 degrees in that classroom.
Yeah, because of how the control system interacts with the Niagara,
Yeah.
whatever the last command in is, it stays there. So since we overrode it to 72, until someone goes back to the thermostat and messes with it, it's gonna stay at 72.
even
Or
though
if
we
you-
only did it for 1 minute?
Yeah, yeah,
So now I have to go back in here and override it and put it back to 75.
yeah. Yeah, or they can do, if that 72 is too cold, they can go back to the stat and do it there.
And permanent. And now it'll go back to 75, and this valve should open up all the way.
Yep, it should whack back open 100%.
Right.
And then once it goes back to that, then you should be able to release that override, and it'll stay at 75.
So we could adjust every thermostat in the building, or just the ones in that section?
You have to do each one individually for every rooftop unit.
Right.
Individually. So you're talking about, how many was in this unit? There was,
Yeah, I think there's like 80 some VMEs total,
right,
somewhere around there.
right, so everything went back to 100%.
Yep,
Okay.
yep, so now if you right click on that and just hit auto,
On this 75?
yep, just hit auto, it should hold that 75.
Okay. I don't think that I would ever come in here and play with these, but if a teacher is too hot or too cold in her room, then that gives me some idea of how to do something. But
Yep.
again, this is something that, if you don't mind me calling you every once in a while, you might be able to run me through this. And I don't know what kind of agreement that we can work out with your company, Because this isn't something I'm gonna do it all the time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just that I might
most of
forget
the time
how
you
to-
can just set these and not have to worry about them again.
Right.
Especially when the thermostats aren't locked out.
Right.
Because then, if something gets too hot or too cold, they can just go over and hit the up or hit the down. When you release the override, it should fall back to whatever it was set to in the base sequence. So if the base sequence says 55, or he changed it to 60, if you do it with an override, when you release the override, it should fall back to that base setting.
Okay, so I overrode it back to 60 now.
Yep.
So it's gonna stay this way. So
Yep.
tell me again, how do I get it back to where it's just gonna be plain?
Yeah, so if you hit auto, that releases the override.
That releases the override.
Yep.
I knew there was something.
Yep, and with if you use just the regular override, then you can set it to expire. If you use the emergency level, then that doesn't have a time expiration you can set. It's just permanent.
Okay. So I could do the same thing if I redid it for 55 and overrode it and then came back, override, okay.
Yep.
55,
All right, thank you.
55.
Can you please catch up with him when you want to?
And then push auto,
Yeah.
it'll stay like that permanent. That's so, okay. Well, I'm gonna take it back to 60 because that's what they were.
And you may be able to do it just with a set, but any of the actions you're doing in there, the set or an override, there's a log that records those kind of changes. So if it ever gets changed and that causes an issue in the building, so if someone were to set it to
So if Phil goes in here and does something and says something, then it's not right. There's a log in here of who said it.
yeah, it gets recorded with the time, what point was affected, what the old value was, what it got set to, and then the name of the user that did the action.
Do we have control of that, or is that something that is administrative or like only for
Yeah, so
your company?
so if you hit the circle over here again.
Top one?
Yep.
And then add tree.
Yep, so if you expand histories, just hit the arrow next to it.
Over the arrow, okay.
Yep. And then it'll take a little bit to react, so then expand that one. So that's the name of the station,
Okay.
and then there's a lot of
I
history.
was wondering from that tritium course, because they keep talking about the trees and all this other stuff.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, do I even have that on here? Because I
Yep.
couldn't see that.
Yep, so then if you scroll down, so we get to, we can see AUs, so keep going down.
Am I going too fast?
No, you're good, you can keep going. Yep, so right there, if you double click on audit history,
Okay, double click on this or the arrow?
yeah, on the name of it, yep. Should, of course, that's not gonna do it. You get anything if you right click on it? Okay, there we go, it's opening it now. Yeah, so over there, you see those 3 points right there in the middle-ish of the screen?
This one's?
Yeah, down a little, yep, so right, if you follow those over, RTU1,
Yeah.
you see,
Override.
yep, so somebody overrode the clear alarm point on, March 1st. And if you scroll that right-hand window to the right more, with the bar down at the bottom, you can see what the value it got overridden to was.
So
the
you're a
clear
bad man. Look
alarms.
at you putting all your stuff on here.
Yeah, but that's all me doing stuff. Yep, so if you scroll all the way back up to the top of that window, yep, then you can hit the arrow next to that to minimize that. And then if you double click on home, that takes you back to the home page.
Right, and then I can click on this to get.
Yep, to clear that taskbar.